Hello and welcome to It's Never Too Late, the podcast where we explore the inspiring journeys of women who have embraced change, achieved remarkable things, and followed their dreams in midlife and beyond. I'm Claire Roberts-Molloy, midlife mindset coach, and in each episode I'll be speaking with women who prove that age is just a number and it's never too late to chase your dreams and achieve your goals. Today I'm joined by the lovely Sharon Louca, an award-winning networker, author, speaker, and founder of the Women's Business Network. The Women's Business Network is a multi-award winning national online support community for women running their own business. The network helps women to increase their confidence and business knowledge whilst building strong, trusted relationships in a safe space. The ethos is collaboration over competition, and members recently produced the Women's Business Network Guide to becoming a successful, get my words out, entrepreneur, which gained Amazon #1 bestseller in home business and were the finalists in the Business Book Awards 2024. How amazing! So welcome, Sharon. Please introduce yourself to our listeners and tell us more about the Women's Business Network and what motivated you to start it at the age of 40.
Okay. Well, so I'm Sharon Louca, and thank you for the introduction, Claire. So, yes, I actually started in business at the ripe old age of 40. I didn't start the network immediately. What actually happened was when I started out in business, I started literally from scratch, from a standing start with no clients, no contacts, literally brand new. And it was never a sort of a passion or desire to become a business owner. It was literally just a victim of circumstance at the time and wanting to be able to have time with my children as well as obviously still earn a living but not be tied to the corporate world. So I decided at the time that the easier option was to start a business.
Easier option?
How naive was I? I very quickly found out that it wasn't the easy option. But very early on in my journey, I discovered business networking and everything changed from there for me, really. I built relationships with people who became friends and mentors, helped me to grow my business. And so 5 years on from starting my business, I decided to start my own networking groups to give back for the support that I'd received in my early days. And the Women's Business Network actually started as a result of the pandemic, because we actually took our face-to-face group into the online space and were then able to grow to a much wider national audience. And hence we launched the Women's Business Network. So that's a very quick potted history of where we sort of started from.
Fantastic. So what were you doing before you were 40 and why did that, you said you were a victim of circumstance, so why did that change?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my corporate background was actually in estate agency and banking. I took redundancy from the bank in 2005. At that time, I'd had my two boys. My oldest was at school. My youngest was only 12 months old. I had a year off after redundancy and then felt as much as I loved the time at home with my boys, I needed something else for me. My husband was just growing a business. He's been in the motor trade for 30 years and had about 2 years prior had set up a car sales site and basically was growing and needed support. So I worked alongside him for 3 years, supporting him with the day-to-day running of the business. That took us to 2008, 2009 when the recession hit and basically the overheads and basically the motor trade, bringing in the scrappage scheme and different things that happened just made it that we weren't both be able to rely on that business for to support our incomes. So he said, you need to get a job. And I was like, I don't want to get a job. I'd had 3 or 4 years at that point where I'd been able to work very flexibly, be able to pick the children up from school and not miss out on any of the key important things that they were doing. So I didn't then want to go back into the employed world. So as I say, I thought at the time rather naively that going down the small business route was the easier option. But yeah, it was a lifestyle choice basically rather than a burning desire that took me into small business ownership.
So you were an accidental business owner in a way.
I was, very much so.
So how was that journey? Because the journey into entrepreneurship, even if it's something that you do have a burning desire for, is challenging. So how was it as an accidental entrepreneur?
Very challenging. And I think as well, because I am naturally very shy and an introvert, starting out in the world of business networking wasn't easy for me either. Having to go and stand up in front of a room of strangers and promote myself and talk about myself didn't come easily at all. And so it was a really difficult starting point. But as I say, fortunately, I've found myself in the right rooms with the right people who believed in me, supported me, and referred people to me. So I very soon had a full client list, and it all sort of happened from there, really.
Amazing. And now, of course, you've got all that experience of starting again, really, at the age of 40. And as you said, you started the Women's Business Network to almost give back.
Yes, absolutely.
People.
I wanted as well to create, when I first started networking in 2009, it was very, very corporate style networking, very male orientated. And I didn't feel often that I could really be honest and truthful about how I was feeling. The fact that I perhaps, and especially at the beginning, I hadn't got any clients, hadn't got any money coming in, and I didn't feel that I could actually be honest and say that. I had to pretend everything was wonderful and rosy. So when I did start my own network, it was important for me to really make people feel safe, that they could ask any question. No question was silly, that they could be really honest about how things were, so that we could really offer them the help and support that they needed by being open.
Yeah. And I think there's a couple of points you touched on there. The one is being able to be authentic in business, because I think there's a lot of people who feel that that's still a challenge, that they won't be taken seriously if they are authentic and and give that truthful side of things. But also, when you were in those rooms, that pressure that you felt, that you've tried to create that safer space now.
Yes.
And obviously you're doing a women's business network. Did it feel important for you to make it a space for women rather than a mixed group?
I think the reason I think initially that I started down the women's route was I'd literally attended a women-only event, and I think it was the first women-only event that I'd been to, and just the energy in the room was really different, and it just really attracted me to the positivity and the energy, and just the fact that it was just women together was, I think, what inspired me to go down that route, because I hadn't really, and there wasn't a lot of women-only groups around at the time either, so I think it was just that sort of energy. But also, like you say, I think that by making it women only made it feel that women would be more open if it was just a room full of women rather than being a mixed network.
And you feel, obviously, you've been in networking for a long time now, and you've got that experience of all sorts of different networking groups. Do you feel that women still network slightly differently?
Yes, I think they do. Yeah, I think because of that, I think when women do find the right groups where they feel comfortable, then I think, yes, there is that openness and that vulnerability. And I think that women do then accept that being vulnerable is a strength rather than a weakness. So, yeah, I think that is one of the main differences. Women are going to be more willing, I think, to ask for support when they're in a safer environment that they perhaps feel more comfortable in. But that's not all women, is it? That's just some women will probably feel more comfortable in a room full of men. So it is personal preference, isn't it? And I always say that you'll always know when you're networking, the rooms that you feel comfortable in and the rooms that you don't. So
absolutely.
That's always my advice.
Yeah.
Don't just settle for the first meeting that you attend or visit. Try lots of different groups to see, because you'll instantly know where you feel comfortable and where you belong, really.
Yeah, that's really, really great advice. I mean, I come from a background of business development, so I was very much in the corporate world networking.
Yeah.
There were times I was the only woman in the room, and that builds up a level of resilience,
Yes.
which is important. But over the years, and even now, I run my own networks, and they are primarily for women.
Yes.
And it is because of what you've said. It's because sometimes women feel more comfortable in that space. And not all women, not for every woman.
No.
But it's really important. I think when you find your networking tribe, as I like to think of it,
Yes,
it really, really works and it becomes really powerful. So I'm assuming, Sharon, that you see lots of women in midlife come through your networking group.
I think my network is made up of women in midlife and older as well.
Yeah. So quite often in society, we have there's this image that's portrayed, isn't there, of women in midlife that the likes of you and I are really desperately trying to reinvent and go, that isn't all there is. There's this whole huge potential to be unlocked with these groups. So what do you think people often misunderstand about women as they get older and they go into midlife?
I think we've probably done it ourselves, aren't we? When we're younger and you think of middle age, you think of them being old and sitting in a rocking chair with a blanket or something. And then as soon as we sort of reach that age, we're like, actually, I don't feel that much older than when I was in my 20s and 30s, other than perhaps a few things ache and don't work as well as they used to. So, yeah, I think I really believe that age is a number. And I know that from the fact that one of my business partners, who I've, over my 15 years in journey, I was in business with a lady for 5 years who, when we went into business, she was post 65. She's now post 80 and is now growing her business even bigger than it's ever been before. So it really is. I think it is a mindset and an attitude when it comes to age. And if you respect your body, your health and everything, then age is purely just a number, and it shouldn't be any barrier to stop you doing anything you want to do, whether that's business, life or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that there are women out there who are just going for it regardless. And I know we share some of the same networks and we see those women, don't we? And they're so inspirational. And I think we need, as a society, to recognise them more. And we'll come on to talk
probably more. There's less restrictions if you're running your own business, isn't there? Because nobody can tell you you're too old at that point. And as long as you can keep getting business and keep getting clients, who's to say you can't go on forever?
Exactly.
Whereas I think, and I'm very out of touch now with the corporate world, having not been in there for 20 years, but I think that is a different scenario, isn't it? You are literally, if you're applying for a job, and I know there's restrictions that there shouldn't be that prejudice, but I think naturally there will be, won't there, if you're making choices between younger and older women. Sadly, they are discounting people because of age, and it is wrong, because we have so much wisdom and knowledge that we've accumulated over our years, haven't we, that we've got to share. So it is really sad that that is impacted due to age.
Yeah, but there are those women out there who are becoming role models.
Absolutely.
But not everybody will know about them. So we might know about them. And I'm thinking of some of the younger women whose role models will be really different because they're influenced by social media. Yes. So how can we support women who are out there doing all these amazing things? How can we support them to create a platform to become those role models, do you think?
I think it is things like what you're doing, Claire, with your podcast. It's raising awareness, isn't it, of what, it's like you say, it's we're a bit like unsung heroes, aren't we, that we're doing great things, but people aren't getting to know about us. And I think together we can have a voice. And obviously we have a shared connection in Wendy Garkiles and her movement that she's absolutely flying with, and really trying to bring that to the forefront and really make those changes so that there are the more opportunities and more investment and what have you. So I think it is what can we all do collectively, and I think especially as network leaders as well, the more we can do to showcase the great things that women are doing at an older age. That is really important.
Yeah, I love that. Unsung heroes.
That just sprang to mind.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of us like in midlife mask, well, I can't think of it, but like superheroes, midlife woman here too.
Yeah.
I can just see that sort of those images. That's great. But yeah, and Wendy obviously appears on. She was my very first podcast guest on the It's Never Too Late podcast, and she's really brilliant. If listeners haven't already listened to that episode, it's really, really worthwhile because she's doing some amazing work. And it is about building up those role models and hopefully then getting that recognised wider, because you said about investment there, Sharon, and we all know that investment in women-owned businesses is really low anyway. And when you put that age filter over it, the amount of investment that women-owned businesses attract gets even smaller. So it's about changing that perspective of society, but also of the business world as well. That, I mean, I don't know the numbers, but how many women-owned businesses are there? It's there's huge numbers doing really great things and doing it well. And we know that women make it work.
We do, don't we? Yes, yeah. When you think of the resilient, I mean, I can think of like my 15 years in business. It's not been easy. It's been a journey of many, many twists and turns and what have you. But I have supported myself and generated an income for myself. I've not had to rely on anybody. I haven't had to rely on the state or anything like that. And we are generating income and feeding our economy as well. And and I think the older that we get, we actually have got more confidence. We've got less responsibilities, as if we've got children, they're more independent, and we can dedicate more time than younger generations who are going through what we've been through and having their young family years where they don't have the time to dedicate. And now we have got that time added to the fact that we've got those years of wisdom, probably more confident. I feel personally, I don't know about you, but I'm a more confident woman now in my latter years than I was when I was younger. And I think that just comes with wisdom and life experience, doesn't it? So we've just got, don't write us off.
Don't write us off. No, absolutely. I think I'm far more confident than I've ever been. And I think that comes also to that point as you get older, you care a bit less what other people think.
I think that's
you do get to that point, don't you? And we have been through all of the, raising kids, if people have had children, building homes, relationships, maybe one or two relationships. We've been through it, haven't we? And we've come out. And I know from my point of view, and probably from your experience, you do get more time because you start to get that empty nest. Your kids start, as much whether you want them to or not, they do start to leave. Or they at least they rely on you less for the day-to-day things. So you do get a little bit more time. And one of the things I speak to a lot of women about, Sharon, and talk to my clients a lot about, are what were their dreams or ambitions when they were younger that they maybe put on hold, that one day I'll do that one day, that you've either fulfilled since you've turned 40 or are still there on the list to be fulfilled. Are there any of those?
Question. I I can remember growing up that I didn't really have any idea what I wanted to do. And that I find really sad, because I think, what could my life have been? Have no regrets. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't change anything. But I just think, yeah, had I had more passions and dreams, perhaps more inspiration from people in my younger years, then yes, what could I actually have gone on to achieve? But I actually find that in the last 5 years, I have found my true passion and purpose in life through my business and what I do now, supporting women in business and helping them on the journey that I've been on the last 15 years, which has involved a lot of personal development, self-discovery, which I'm so grateful, because I think had I not had of my own business, been in the networks and communities that I've been in, met the people and the coaches and the trainers that I have, that have helped me to develop myself, gain more confidence, and just really sort of discover me and where my passion lies, yeah, so I think mine came the other way around. Rather than having a burning desire that I put on hold, I've sort of found it now, and loving what I do.
So no secret dreams to go and do like trapeze artist or anything?
I can remember from being at school. School days for me weren't great, because I was so shy and what have you. I didn't really get much out of school, and certainly the day I left, I have no regrets, no looking back, and those were the best days and none of that. I always remember saying that I'd love to perhaps be a beautician, and I remember one of my close friends said to me, "Oh, you don't want to mess with people's feet," and I was like, actually no, I don't want to mess with people's feet. So that sort of dream went out the window. And I often say, when people say, "What would your dream job be?" I said, I suppose actually, if looking back then, I would probably have said something like being able to be like a makeup artist on To the Stars or on a film set, or something a bit exciting that involves some travel and meeting people and what have you. But yeah, unfortunately, I haven't got a lifelong thing that got put on hold.
That's fine. That's fine. It's just saying about feet. I'm always glad there are people who can do that, because I couldn't.
No.
That's why life's interesting, because we're all different.
Yes.
And so that's why I'm always grateful that that's the case. But you just said about that role would have allowed you to meet people and travel. Obviously, you meet a lot of people in what you do now.
Yeah. So yeah, I do, and I travel as well. So
and you love to travel, don't you?
Yeah,
so
I do.
That's one of the things that you love to do. So you get all the benefits of that role without doing that role. But
yes.
And as you say, it's how wonderful to hear that you've found your passion and purpose in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And that you're living really aligned to that, because not many people get to say that, do they? So that's really
no. And I think especially when you're in business, passion is an important thing that keeps you going, isn't it? Because
absolutely.
There's no doubt about it. Running a small business is not an easy ride. So yeah, if you're not passionate about what you're doing, and yeah, definitely, I would say if you are feeling like that, try and find something that you are passionate about, and that's something with my journey. It's been very much a case of opportunities have arisen, and I've been very open-minded. Some I've accepted, some I've not, and it's sort of taken me on this journey that's led me to where I am now. And I'm really grateful for that, because it's helped me to find where I was meant to be.
Brilliant. Okay, so coming towards the end of our wonderful chat, and I've really enjoyed it.
Me too.
I've really enjoyed it. And we mentioned role models earlier. And I'm just interested on who your role models have been, given that, as you say, it was never your plan to set out in business.
No.
So,
and I haven't got any inspiring big people that like you look up to, and I think I'm just inspired by, I think, people just around me that I've met, and the people in my network and things, and that you just see people doing really good things, and they inspire me. And I think I have always had an inner strength that I didn't always perhaps recognise, that I've recognised more in the last few years. And I think that actually came from my grandmother, who lived till she was 97.
wow.
And she was an inspiration to me, because she didn't have the easiest of lives, and she was a really strong, determined woman. And I really see, and probably more so since we've lost her, really see that I think she gave me that strength to not give up when the times were hard, and just to keep going and keep carrying on. So I would say that my grandmother was one of my biggest inspirations.
We can all dream of living to that age, can't we? I mean, that's amazing. And do you think that you've become a role model now?
I'd like to think so. Yeah. And I think something that I've perhaps struggled with sometimes to be open and vulnerable. I want everybody to be open and vulnerable to me, but I didn't always find it easy to do it in reverse and be vulnerable to others. But I've now really embraced that, and I am very honest, open and vulnerable. I'm happy to share anything that I've struggled with or what have you, because I want people to see that I've come through it, I've overcome it, and hopefully give them the encouragement that they can do the same. So,
Fantastic. So thank you so much, Sharon, for sharing your story and your insights with us today. But before we wrap up, I have one last question for you. And I think you've been dropping some of these hints throughout. So this won't be too much of a difficult question for you. But what's one piece of advice that you would give to anyone out there who feels it's too late to chase their dreams?
I would say it's never too late. It's all about your mindset and attitude. And if you put your mind to anything, the one big thing I would say is that having a supportive community around you is a game changer, because, just knowing that you've got people who will be there to lift you up, help you, support you, give you advice when you need it. But definitely, age is just a number. You can do it.
Absolutely brilliant. So thank you so much, Sharon. And to our listeners, I hope today's conversation has reminded you that no matter where you are in life, it's never too late to follow your passions and achieve your goals. Thank you. Until next time, have a great day.